Today we are going to learn how to make collar stand and collar. This is the neck. So we are going to measure from one point of the neck to the other. We are going to take the measurements round. I have 19.5. I'll be using this pattern paper for the drafting. So you fold your fabric. If you are not making use of a pattern paper, you fold your fabric into two. Here is my starting line. Remember our shoulder, when I measured our neck, it was 19.5. So I'm going to divide it by 2. That is why I folded this pattern into 2. So 19.5 divided by 2, I have 9.3 quarter. So I'll mark 9.3 quarter here. This is 9.3 quarter. So on this line here, I'll go up by half inch. So this line, I'm going to divide it into 2. This 9.3 quarter, I'll divide it into 2. To get the exact measurement, just fold your tape. So here is my midpoint. I'll just connect and meet the midpoint. So I'm going to take my collar height, and the height depends on you, but I'll be making use of 1 inch. So from this line, you take 1 inch round. So from here, you go in by half inch, and just curve it like this and cut out. So for the main collar, the pattern is still folded into 2. Here is my start line. So we still have 9.3 quarter when you divide 19.5 by 2. 9.3 quarter. And the length of the width of the collar depends on how wide you want your collar to look. But for me, I'll be making use of 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches. So on this part here, you come in by 1 inch from here. You mark 1 inch. You connect it to this point. Then from here, from the folded part, you go down by half an inch. Then you connect it to this point. And it's ready. I'm going to be cutting it two each. I'll use one for the main fabric and use one as the lining. So I'm going to cut these two. I'll cut these two on the main fabric. And when cutting out, make sure you add half an inch, half inch, half inch, and half inch here. My fabric is folded into two, and I added half inch on the sides for the sewing allowance. So I'll iron interfacing on just one side, and I'll do the same thing for the collar stand. So I've ironed my cloth gum to my fabric. So what we are going to do is to sew the collar. So this is the collar. So I'm going to sew here, sew up from the part that has the pointed edges here. You sew. After sewing, I'll trim out the excess here so that if I iron, I'll not have any bulky effect there. Turn it to the right side. Make sure you iron. I've ironed my collar. So what I'm going to do is to place my collar stand. This is my collar stand. You see the cuff part is facing me, and also for the collar, the cuff part is facing me. So what I'm going to do for the collar is to fold and notch the midpoint. Then I'll indicate the midpoint of this one too. So here is my midpoint. Here is the midpoint. This part I placed here is a part that has the cloth gum. And this part, when you open up, this part is a part that also have the cloth gum. So I'm mashing them like this. Remember, we notch the midpoint. Also notch the midpoints of this one. So the collar itself is in between the collar stand. You see what we have here? At this point, you can pin. When you want to sew, leave half inch here before sewing. Instead of starting from the edge here to sew, leave about half inch. You sew, you go this way, that way. Then you sew and stop at half inch. So I'm going to give it a good press. And for the side that has the cloth gum, I'm going to fold in half an inch and iron. This is what I have after ironing. The part that has the cloth gum is folded inside with half inch. Here is our dress. On the wrong side of our dress, we are going to place that plain part, the part that does not have the stay, on it. You look for the midpoint. Here is the midpoint. Just give it a little notch. You also notch the midpoint of your collar. So you place it. The parts that don't have the gum stay, the hair stay, you pin round and sew. Okay, you sew, you sew. After sewing, what you need to do is to top stitch on the right side of the fabric. Remember, we folded in half inch, so we are going to top stitch it on the right side of the fabric, and that is all. For the bottom, it depends on the spacing you want to leave. but normally I use 4 inches apart for the button. So the first button will be on the collar stand. The first button is on the collar stand here. Then from there you start taking your 4 inches apart. You mark 4 inches apart. That is for your buttonhole. This is for buttonhole. 4 inches until you get to where you want it to stop. So that is all for this shirt dress. After your buttonhole, you just sew in your button. After your buttonhole, you just sew in your button. I hope this tutorial was helpful. And please do well to subscribe, like, and share. See you on my next video.